welcome back to Breaking Barriers with Bria. I'm your host, the Baddie Bria, and thank you so much for joining us today for our final installment for Women's History Month. Today, we will be focusing on women in business. Yay! Alrighty, so here with me is one of my close friends and amazing business owners, as well as amazing human resources professional. All right, her name is Morgan Lewis. Okay, she has a couple businesses, and I'm gonna let her introduce herself to you all. Morgan.
Hi, Bria.
Hi! Yay! Finally.
I know. So, like Bria said, I'm Morgan. I am an executive producer of a TV show called Beyond the Plate. Yay. I am an author of a self-published cookbook, and I work in HR. And I own a business called Morgan Creates, which is a lifestyle and food brand. So, I'm happy to be here.
Period. Yay! Thank you so much for being here. You have influenced my life in so many ways. I know we're gonna have to bust the tissues back out because it's not supposed to be a crying episode, okay? This isn't one of those. But you have just really inspired me. Y'all, she has always encouraged me to just really go for my goals and like go for my dreams and just reach for the stars. Like 1,000%. I cannot say it enough. And I will always be like, oh, I'm so scared. Like, I don't know. What do I do? Oh, I just wish I could be like you and do X, Y, and Z. And she'd be like, well, why can't you just do it, though?
Period.
And then I would be like, you're right. You're right. I don't know. Fear? I don't know. Imposter syndrome? Maybe. Imposter syndrome? Yeah. We're going to put the definition of imposter syndrome right here. Okay? All right. And it's not Bria. All right. But yeah, imposter syndrome. Also shout out, okay? I would love for us to get a quick look at her cookbook here on the table, okay? As well as this candle that's burning, y'all. This is also from her lifestyle line. Amazing candles, okay? Get into it, honey. Not only does she have candles, she has body scrubs, which I love. All right, there's this one that's watermelon, which is like my favorite. There's candle wax melts. She has like bath soaks. I love me a bath. Like, I really didn't realize how much I love baths until I turned like, I can't tell you how old I am, but until I turned like my age. Okay. Yes, but you just always went and reached for your goals, and I've always admired that about you.
Thank you. I admire you too.
Yeah. Oh my God, tears. Oh my God. Okay, let's get into it.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah. Okay, great. So first things first. So you mentioned being an HR professional and being a businesswoman. So can you tell me exactly like what do you do, and then what it means to be, what you think it means to be an HR professional?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I am a senior manager for a tech company. So I'm also a woman in tech, which is predominantly driven by men, white males. But I'm call myself people operations because HR has evolved to become from personnel to HR to now people operations. So you'll see that transition as the profession transitions. And so what I would say an HR professional is truly a business partner to any part of the business. So for example, if you have a finance department or a legal department, my responsibility is to work with those leaders or senior leaders in those areas to learn more about their business, to become like an extended member of their leadership team, to help them with any employee relations, or if they have any people issues, so like conflict resolution, difficult conversations, coaching, counseling, So in HR, you get to see the best of people and you get to see them at the worst. So it's a thankless job, but it's also you have to be passionate about people and keeping a balance, about being fair. And I always say fair is not always favorable, but fair is the right thing to do. And so that's what I feel like has contributed to my success in HR.
Yeah. And I think that you've been pretty successful. I know you've been doing it for a long time. And fair is not always favorable, but even in my own experiences with my own HR offices, I've always grew closer to my colleagues that were fair, that were able to look at the situation for what it actually was and not put, I don't say feelings, right?
Yes,
Into it.
that's hard for people because people are human and
Yes.
humans naturally have emotions and everybody is not
Exactly.
going to make rational decisions that are like a case study.
Right.
So that's the good part about a good HR person will take that into consideration, but really truly at the core of HR, it's always about doing what is the least negatively impacting thing on a person's career or cycle in an organization. So, and a lot of people have this negative stigma that HR, you only go there for if you're getting fired or for bad news or that HR is just for the company.
Yeah.
And I want to debunk that myth that while, yes, we work for the company, but we also keep the company from having like lawsuits or liabilities so they don't do the wrong things. So that's what I just want to put that out there that you need to go to your HR person. Like, be best friends with them. They will not steer you wrong.
I know people is probably looking like, I ain't
Yeah, right, girl. Whatever. But I'm telling you, be best friends with HR. You will learn a lot.
No, but for real though, if you're, I've had that same experience for sure in my previous positions for sure, and I remember people even looking at me funny, like, why are you talking to like one of the HR people? Like, why are you cool with them? Oh, she must be getting in, or she must be something like because she's cool with them. And honestly, I'd be like, no, because I feel seen, I feel heard, like, yeah, like
there are bad HR people. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not gonna hold you, but I feel like that's a small margin of people.
Okay.
So there are some bad apples out there because I've worked with some in the past, but I will definitely say like what HR is for is to be a business partner to help you and your teams set up for success because if you are in sales or you're in marketing, you have your regular day-to-day job, and people management is probably one of the hardest things that you'll ever have to do as in a job.
Yeah,
managing different personalities and on top of doing your day-to-day. So whether it's like in sales or calling people, closing deals, but then you have conflict. And sometimes it can be like a daycare, like a playground. So that's what HR comes in to help you kind of figure out, guide you. Because we don't make the decisions. We give recommendations. And I think that's what a lot of people get confused, that HR is not hiring. We're not firing. We're recommending what we feel like.
Because that's true. Oh, wow. As I think back.
So it's not HR. It's not HR. Because we'll say, I recommend for termination, or I support this, or
that's so true.
I'll say no, I don't recommend this, and they can do it anyway. But it's gonna be on the record that I said don't do that.
Yeah.
So
that is so true. Now that I think about some conflicts that I've had in the past, at a few of my jobs, I would literally take the issue or the conflict to to my HR department. I'd be like, look, I got this X, Y, and Z. This is what I would like to do. These are the supporting documentations. And HR either had the time, had the ability to say, okay, well, wow, like if you have all of this, then, I recommend X, Y, and Z. Yeah. That's crazy. Or I don't because blah, blah, blah.
So it should be like a partnership. So like when people come to me or about issues, sometimes people come to me off the record and say, I just want to vent or I just want to throw the scenario at you. And I'll tell people, take my HR hat off and I'll put it on. Because I like to give people the reality of situations, but also because that's the human side of it. But then there's also policy and procedures and things that I can't change. But I think anybody should be able to go to their HR department and ask any question, whether it be about development, pay, you having conflict with somebody else. You should feel comfortable enough to go there because they're just going to give you advice. It's a consultant part of it too. So that's what I enjoy. I enjoy talking to people, and I do it every day.
Oh, wow. Yeah, nah, you're definitely breaking lots of the stigmas between HR, like even just right now.
Okay.
In this conversation, because it is scary. People like, oh, you got to go to HR. I don't want to go to HR. Like, I just want to do benefits or whatever, and like and keep it pushing. Like if I go to HR, I'm in trouble. So, Wow. Okay. Thank you for that insight.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
Y'all go ahead and make a connection with your HR office. Okay. At least find one person that that you connect with.
Yes.
That will definitely help you. Okay. So, did you have any inspirations in pursuing like HR, like people
My
or events in your life?
So I would say I kind of got into HR by happenstance. So when I was in undergrad, I worked part time when I would go back home at a nursing home as in a dining services. And I went through this program with Georgia Tech called Bridge to Business, where it was kind of like a mini MBA program, and you were learning about the different things that you can get into in business. And one of the things was HR, because I thought that I was going to be in finance. I thought that I was going to be in finance or I was going to be in health economics. So my undergrad degree is in economics and organizational management. But I realized that I didn't really like finance because I'm a social person. And then when I found out that HR was a part of like business, like I was like, well, how can I get a job? And I asked my HR director at the job that I was working for, an internship in the HR department, and she said yes. And then that's how I got my first HR job, just by asking, because I worked like PRN over the holidays. And so that's kind of how I got into it. And I was doing recruitment for like nurses and things like that. So that's kind of my first taste. And I liked it, but I don't know that I didn't like the healthcare industry part.
So you were in healthcare, so you were recruiting nurses for the job.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Cool beans, cool beans. Okay. And we're gonna kind of tag team a little bit, a little here with entrepreneurship as well.
Okay.
What inspired you to in addition to HR, become an entrepreneur?
So I think I don't see, and that's a good question, because I feel like I kind of got into entrepreneurship just having a passion project. So when I decided to produce a cookbook, I had no clue that a business was going to be developed from it. I just strictly did it to just do it because I love to cook, and people kept saying like, you should do a cookbook, or you should put all of these recipes in a book. And then I had an idea, and I talked to my friend Jabari, and he was like, let's do it. And so we did it. And then I was like, okay, now that I have these photographs, I got to put it all together. And so that's kind of where I started my journey in getting into entrepreneurship, because I was like, okay, well, how do I get paid for this? So setting up a business to get paid to actually have people purchase the books, that's kind of how I did that. And I started that in 2020. We started in 2019 or 2020 with the photography, but the idea was started in like 2018. But I will say, like, the pandemic like pushed me to do stuff because I had more time. I was working from home, so I wasn't in traffic for like 2 or 4 hours a day. So I had the time to do it, and I learned a lot. So I was just like, and then I got into it, and then the cookbooks turned into candles, and that turned into body scrubs, and it turned into a lifestyle brand. So it became food and lifestyle. So that's kind of been my journey. And now I've ventured into the entertainment industry with the cooking competition show. So it's like this cookbook has evolved and kind of set me up for success. And I've learned a lot along the way about just what it is to be an entrepreneur.
I love it.
Thank you.
Yes, just bam, bam, bam. One venture after the other. And literally, y'all, she is not afraid to go for her dreams. I'm telling you, like, what? Like, cookbook, candles, scrubs, like,
it's a lot.
You know, all the way to a whole cooking television show now. So, which your girl may or may not be on.
You just gotta watch and see.
You just gotta watch and see, okay? Just watch and see. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say on that. Just watch and see, okay? Just watch and see. Great, awesome. Okay, so how many years did it take for you to get to where you are now in HR? And any recommendations as far as like degrees or experience that you might need for that, and entrepreneurship?
So I would say for somebody looking to get into HR, you do not need a degree. Mostly you need experience, and you can get certifications that will give you that credibility. So there's a an organization called HRCI, and they have a certification that you can get, which is called a PHR, which I have. And then there's a Society for Human Resource Management, which is the biggest HR professional group, and you can get a certification with them, and you can go to conferences and things like that. But a lot of what you will learn is going to be on the job. So I would say anybody looking into HR, you will have to have some type of surface level. So an entry level could be like a coordinator. You can go into recruiting. And then you also have to think about if you want to be a specialist or a generalist. If you generally don't kind of want to be a jack of all trades, a master of none, that's probably the path for you. A specialist could specialize in recruitment only. They could specialize in training. They could specialize in benefits or compensation. And people like to go that route because they like certain things. The only kind of hesitancy that I would have going that route is that sometimes as a specialist, you get pigeonholed into that area where people want to see that you have the other experience versus, having more of benefits experience.
Got it.
I would say you don't need a degree. You just need to be open to working in an entry level role to get some type of knowledge. I feel like you need like a year and a half
of
a general knowledge of what you're going to be doing. And then once you do that, you figure out what you want to do, you can go leaps and bounds. Like there are plenty of people who are doing very well, and especially in tech, So I work in tech, which I really like because it's not like I don't have to wear a suit or anything like that. So it's very kind of casual. So
nice. Awesome. Okay. Wow. Okay, cool. I knew of the specialist and the generalist. I just didn't know I didn't know like specialist of like benefits, specialist of like something else. I don't know.
Yeah, and the generalists, they pretty much have experience in almost every facet of HR, but they may not do it every day, but they can do it. But an HR director might not have that experience, that specialty at all. They're more strategy. So as you progress, you'll start from like being more task oriented to being more strategic, where you're partnering with people, consulting, and versus kind of like getting things started or supporting other people to get things done as an entry level person. But I definitely feel like if you are interested in HR, there's plenty of jobs out there. Get you some certifications. And honestly, people can have applicable like skills that are transferable to HR. You might not even have to have an entry level HR job, but if you worked at a Pizza Hut and you've recruited people before, or you've had to manage or supervise, then you do have some of those HR skills. But you just need to look at the job and think about what you've done in your past or your experience and make it relative to what you're applying to. Everybody's done some part of HR. Everybody, like if you've managed somebody, you've probably done payroll. That's sometimes it's the HR function, sometimes it's a finance function. True. But you just have to look deep within and see what you've done, because you have done something that can get you a position.
I've started like this mentoring journey, and so I actually was telling someone the exact same thing. She's doing, I think, like UX design.
Okay.
And so, and then kind of like DE&I. So I was like, oh wow, that's so cool. And she was like, I haven't done anything. And I was like, let me see your resume. And so based off of everything, I was like, yes, you have. And I was like helping her. It's still in the process of helping her to pull that out and apply it to whatever other job she's trying to apply for. So that's true, y'all. That's so true. Don't count yourself out just because you think that you haven't done something.
Right.
Really think about the skills and the experience you have and the things you've done. Even if they weren't labeled a specific way, really think about that. And you never know. You could apply it on your resume.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Great. How many years do you think it takes to be an entrepreneur?
Oh my goodness. How many years? I feel like,
and this is kind of like a trick question, but I'm just curious.
I don't think it takes years. I think it takes when you start doing something on your own. I feel like an LLC or one of those that doesn't dictate who's an entrepreneur or not, because some people don't have the resources, they don't have the knowledge that they need to get the admin part right, but they might have that hustle to get business. And I know a lot of people who don't really have businesses set up, but they are successful entrepreneurs on their path to get things right, but that's not how they started.
Absolutely.
So I would say day one.
Day one, period.
Day one.
Period, day one.
One day. It's a mental thing. When you decide, that's when you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I love it. I agree. I have to admit that I was a little nervous with some of my older students, older high school students, starting businesses and everything in high school. I was super proud of them. However, in one of my previous roles, the goal was to get them to matriculate and get to college. So that they can obtain either an associate's or a bachelor's degree. And I had a couple students say, well, I don't really need that because I got X, Y, and Z. And I remember my colleagues and I trying to convince them and let them know, okay, well, you don't necessarily have to go to college, but if you do, you'll meet all these people, you'll network. Like, okay, what are you trying to sell? What are you trying to build? Like, what are you trying to do? And is it just going to be a family business now? Like, how are you going to get your stuff out there? Like, word of mouth is very important as well. And grabbing the skills that you can learn from taking certain classes or getting different degrees. I think that they can be helpful. Sometimes it's almost a little easier. This is my opinion, right? Because I know people who did not go the degree route and who eventually got there, but it took them a longer time because they didn't have those resources or people or guides, to help them or show them. So, yeah, I'll say that.
Yes, I agree 100%. I feel like you don't need a degree to be successful. I do feel like you need to have a plan or an idea of what you want to do and what you're interested in, because you got to do something to take care of yourself. Even if you don't have a desire to work or be an entrepreneur, you still need to be able to take care of yourself. And when you want to do something that you enjoy a little bit, if you have to do something to live in this society, then do something that you like to do. But again, and also there's a lot of like community organizations, like even in Atlanta, like there's Invest Atlanta, there's Operation Hope. These are different organizations that will help you free to anybody who wants to take a course in entrepreneurship. So like even for me, I just recently completed an entrepreneurship boot camp, and it was like an 8-week program, and it really helped me because I didn't have like what was my mission or what's my elevator pitch or things like that. And while I have a, formal degree and things like that, entrepreneurship is still new to me. And it is easy. I will definitely agree that it is easier when you can network, because I feel like a big part of college to me is a network, that you meet a lot of people who are going to do a lot of different things in life. And so if you want to lean into those circles and those sources as much as you can, because those people, they're close to you in proximity versus you reaching out to a stranger on LinkedIn, so you can get kind of like real-time feedback for that. So definitely utilize your resources. You don't have to go to school, but there's other community partnerships that you can do that will teach you and help you pitch your idea, help you flesh out ideas that because a lot of people can't afford to go to school. School is not cheap. It's expensive. I'm still paying for student loans, and they probably ain't gonna get paid until I'm in the grave. But but
did you say until you in the grave or to
grave?
Oh, until the grave.
Until I'm in the grave. Until I'm in the grave. That's how I
feel. Okay.
But
and Sally Mae be knocking, and all the new people, Navian and Mohella and
okay, because Mohella is on my ass.
Okay. That's fine. We cursed here.
Sorry. So look at what your community resources are around you. Yeah. But I think that you should always be learning, be open to learning something
forever
new.
Learners. Yeah, absolutely. You're a forever learner. I agree. Speaking of, right, I'm just gonna throw this little plug in there just because I know this personally, and she ain't said this, but she's also currently getting her MBA, honey, and it's almost done. Okay.
Ooh, praise Jesus. Yes.
Woo! So you don't necessarily need a degree, y'all, to pursue your passions and be an entrepreneur, right? There are perks that come with that, and if that's your path, that's your path. Do you think that getting an MBA was helpful?
It took a while for me to even go back to school because I didn't see the value. And even when I made the decision to go back to school, this was pre-pandemic, and I saw the value then. But as I was enrolled during pandemic, I kind of lost the value. It kind of was like a little demotivating. Yeah. But I definitely feel like as an entrepreneur, the classes that I've taken have allowed me to feel like very confident about knowing every aspect of my business. Because when you have a business, it's your baby. It's you, and you are going to be the only person doing a lot of things for the most part, especially in the beginning. And so my trust factor is very low with people when it comes to what I put my investments in. And so like finances, that's important. And I want it to be knowledgeable, at least on surface level, about certain things, so that nobody can tell me that the sky is green and I'm looking at it and it's blue.
Yeah.
So I do feel like some of the classes that I've taken, like the finance classes, the marketing classes, like negotiations, I think it's good to have a refresher of the things that you might already know or do, but just to put them in practice.
Yeah.
And then having a business plan, consulting, and just acting like, it gives you practice for business, and you get to learn about every aspect of business. So I feel like I do see the value in it. Now, would I do it again? I don't know, but I'm done May the 6th, and it's no more school for me for now. It's a wrap on that.
That's okay. School is hard. School is tough, y'all. School is tough. Definitely not to be taken for granted. School is tough, and there are benefits for sure, but hats off to anybody pursuing a degree, or who pursued and received a degree, and who pursued and just tried. Okay, hats off to y'all. It's hard out here. Okay, so I want you to try to tell the people, Morgan, if you can think of one thing for each, right? It's 3 of them, but one thing for each. The one thing that people should know while they're trying to get a job.
Okay.
The one thing that people should know while they have a job, and then the one thing that they should know if they're looking for a new job. Okay,
I might need you to repeat the question. So the first question is what people should know
when they're trying to get a job.
When they're trying to get a job.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll answer that. I think that what people should know when they're trying to get a job is think about where you want to work, like what type of environment or what type of vibe, like, because for example, if you work in hospitality, which I've worked in hospitality, hated it, would never, do not recommend, 0 stars.
Now she don't want to be hospitable, y'all.
Exactly, but you don't get it's rough in hospitality, and you don't get paid that much money if you are not an executive. So I definitely think about the places that you see when you're applying, like even if you visit them or see like what kind of clothes do they wear? Do you want to wear a suit or do you want to wear jeans? Like to see if are there black people there? Do you see yourself in there? Or what kind of people, what kind of vibe is it giving?
For sure.
So I think people need to be intentional about the places that they apply. And as you're going on interviews, just as much as somebody is interviewing you, you need to interview them too. Ask the question, like, why is this job open?
Why is the job open, Tom?
What did you do in the pandemic?
Where your last person go,
Did
Tom?
y'all have to do layoffs in the pandemic? Like, how did you support your people during COVID? Because
I
want to know, are you going to let me go too?
Are you going to try to let me go?
Exactly.
I just started, Tom.
And then I love to ask on an interview, ask them, what about my qualifications or my background that give you pause, or that you have a hesitation with, that I can explain to you to make you feel comfortable about this decision? Because then that puts it on them to tell you, what are your hesitations about me? Like, why don't you want to give me this job? Or what do you think that, and that's your opportunity to explain and sell yourself. No, I don't have tech. Like, for example, one of the things was, for me at my current job, they were concerned, like, you don't have a tech background. How can you make the transition from what you're doing now to a tech world? How can you talk to a software developer about developing a job description when you don't have a clue?
Yeah. And
that was my point, where I'm a business partner and I'm a learner. I don't know how to ride a firefighter truck, but I can give us an assessment.
Period.
I can calculate the friction loss, and I can learn because I'm an extended part of that team. So that's an opportunity for you to sell yourself. And then the third one was, what was the third one?
That was so cool. Hold on, I gotta pause on that one. That was so cool. And that was definitely a gem. I'm gonna see if we can add like a gem GIF or GIF or something like this right here. So ask them, what is something about me that's making you a little hesitant, or that would give you pause to hire me for the role?
About your background or qualifications.
That's crazy.
Everybody should ask that question every time. And even if it's like a 4 process, ask that to each person.
Wow.
To make them tell you, so that, you know, if you don't get the job and they say, well,
you know why?
Well, you told me this, and you know, if you didn't get the job, it wasn't meant for you.
And we do that all the time. We leave, and if we don't get it, we be like, well, I guess I just didn't get it. Like, I guess it just wasn't meant for me. Wow, I love that. Yes, Jim. Okay, so if somebody is at the job already, what's the one thing you think they should know?
Always have your resume updated.
You know what? I've heard that.
Like, because a lot of people get into their jobs and your role might change. You might get promoted. You might take on more responsibility, because jobs love to do that, give you more responsibility without no compensation. And I always feel like you should always be updating your resume, so that if you have another opportunity, or, you know, your time is up there, you can go, even if it's an internal thing. Because I see a lot of candidates, especially internal candidates, when they have to do a resume, and they're like, well, I already work here, so why I got to do a resume? I don't know you. Yeah. It's 1,500 people that work here, and I don't know you. So you need to come just like any other applicant would. Now, you have the home court advantage, so that's that. But you still need to, I always think that you should always update your resume, and always kind of look and see what's out there in your industry, to see what's changing, see what the jobs are, the titles are, so
that's
that
true.
If you, for example, for me, if my job was personnel, then nobody on the resume is going to be like, personnel, what you do? Type in the office like teet. No, I work in human resources, HR, or people operations. And honestly, the more evolved you are on your resume, people will okay, well, this is a progressive person. They even they got a people op, so they know, and people in HR, they know. You know, if you know, you know.
Yeah. Wow. It's all the gems for me.
So that's my 3.
Listen, all right, now, little job. I'm gonna have to update my resume. I'm just playing. I love my job. I love it. Okay, I love it. I love my job. Okay. Yay. Oh no, I'm sorry. And the last one was, what is the one thing people should know if they're trying to look for a job? So they're trying to get another job. They have their current job, right? So went through the process, and they're trying to look for another job
while they're currently employed.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to look for another job, don't tell anybody at your job that you're looking for a job. I don't care if you are best friends with this person. To me, I just feel like, don't tell the right hand what the left hand is doing, because until you have an offer, what are you talking about at work for? I had
my HR person told me the same thing.
Because people's perceptions, and I'm gonna be real. I've seen it happen at previous jobs where somebody will tell somebody, I'm looking to leave, I'm applying, I haven't found anything yet. Your position can be eliminated. Because they're like, well, even if they're planning cuts, well, she don't want to be here anyway. So let's you on the short list to go first. So I would definitely keep it to yourself. But what you don't keep to yourself is your network, the people that you know, your friends. Tell them that you're interested. Do you know about anything? Reach out to your contacts, because you just never know who knows what or who's hiring for what. So having your resume updated and, networking with people.
Yay, awesome. Okay, so moving right along, we're rolling. Connecting HR to DE&I. Have you witnessed them face certain adversities, in human resources that they shouldn't necessarily have faced?
All the time. And I I'm not at liberty to say specifics, of course, but I definitely think that DE&I is not an HR issue. It's an everybody issue. It's
say it again. It's an everybody issue.
It's not on HR to carry that out. And for everybody out there, DE&I, if you want to tell them what the acronym means.
Yes, diversity, equity, and inclusion. We're gonna put it here, okay, right here.
Yeah, so I think that definitely they should partner. I mean, sometimes organizations don't even have that component. And I worked at an organization that had the same staff for the past 20 years. And that's very rare, where everybody has been there and they haven't increased headcount in the last 20 years. So bringing things in like a racial equity workshop was very uncomfortable for a lot of people.
And I'm sure unpopular.
Exactly. And a lot of people need to know that you have to get uncomfortable. It's going to be uncomfortable. But that's how but the more you talk about it, the more comfortable you will be with the content. And it just shows that you are in tune to what's going on, because people are showing up every day as themselves, and they go through different things. So from disabilities, and diversity is not just about race or color. It's about disabilities. It's about, your gender, it could be political affiliation, where you went to school, your age, your certifications, things like that. So, and a lot of people say like, well, we shouldn't have these programs like affirmative action or things like that, because that's just getting, more black people and more women. But it's not about that. It's about widening the net.
Yes.
Not saying that the candidate pool is decreasing because you're allowing these other people who
can do the same job.
Exactly.
They're just the same qualifications.
They're just not afforded those same opportunities because those spaces are taken up by predominantly white
men. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yes, DE&I, little knowledge there, little gem for y'all. Okay, awesome. So, jumping back into the entrepreneurship, what is it like being a black business owner?
Oh, I feel like a lot of black people can feel me when I say it is. I feel like it's harder as a black person in entrepreneurship, because the barriers to entry in starting a business, from whatever business that you want to start, it could be working capital, having the funds. A lot of people don't get a lot of grants or gifts to start a business, so you're bootstrapping, which is literally working a job like I'm doing to fund your dream and hoping that you're going to get that return on your investment. But you have to work harder. I honestly feel like you have to work harder. You don't get like, even when I was doing my cookbook, my network, I wanted to be black everything, all black production, all black photography, from copy editor. And as I was searching my network, I couldn't use that because I didn't have anybody in my network who could do some of those things. So I had to reach out to other people that were not black people, unfortunately, but fortunately it still was a good working partnership. But the reality is that taught me that there are not a lot of us in those spaces in general, so that the more people see that there are other people doing these things, representation matters. So we need to see it.
Representation. Okay. And lastly, what advice would you give to someone who wants to be, who is, because I was going to say who wants to be a small business owner. They might not even want to be a small business owner. They just might want to be a regular business owner. But what advice would you give to someone who wants to start their business and eventually they end up being a small business owner?
So I would say, first, you're a business owner, not a small business. Even if it's small, you're a business owner. But I think that starting from somewhere, I think a lot of people get so hung up on trying to perfect something, and then they delay and they never put it out there because they feel like it's not perfect. But the more you practice, the better you'll get. So you might not have all your marketing or your branding right when you launch, but if you put your best foot forward for within your capabilities or the resources that you have, then put it out there, because you can only go up from that. You can only progress from that. So I think starting, and you don't have to know everything. Like, you can Google a lot of things. You can ask other people for information. But I think that would be my advice, because I've talked to a lot of people and they are like shy, or they're like nervous, like, oh, I don't want to do this until it's perfect. And nothing will ever be perfect.
I lied. I literally said that was the last question. It's not. It's about you being a woman-owned business.
Okay.
A woman business owner, because that's, again, we're here for Women's History Month. So what's the best advice you could give to a woman or someone who is woman identifying who wants to be a business owner?
I would probably some of the same advice, but I would say definitely that women should support other women. Lean into the other people that you know. Like, I feel like everybody should have like your own board of directors, and those people can be the people that are most influential in your life. So it could be your grandma, which is one of mine, your sister, your pastor, somebody that you feel like is like-minded as far as like ambitious and wants more for themselves, so that, because you can't take advice from everybody. But I definitely feel like lean into the people that you see like aspire to be as far as women, because there's a lot of women that I look, for inspiration, and I follow them, I engage with them, I ask them questions, and I try to get to know them so that I can see, tell me, and everybody ain't gonna be friendly and give you free information, and that's real, because it's a lot of gatekeeping that happens. So I would say stop the gatekeeping.
Yeah.
Share your knowledge and
Share
resources.
Knowledge. Okay. So yay. Well, thank you. Those are the only questions I have right now for you. But to wrap up, we always have to do our game. Okay. On Breaking Barriers with Bria. So, you are actually the first person to do a new game that we have. A little switch of the cards here. And so this game is actually called This or That.
Okay.
And it's not new to the world, but it's new to the show. So we're going to do it here. Okay. Yeah. So essentially, I'm going to ask you a question, and you're going to tell me, would you rather this or would you rather that? And you're going to explain why.
Okay.
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 So originally I was like, I should say HR or entrepreneurship. But I was like, maybe not. Let me not do that because she do both. I was like, okay, I guess not. But just think about that, okay? Just think about it. That's not one of the questions. Okay. But the first one, right?
Okay.
And I'll have to give you tough ones because, you're a really smart person. Okay.
Okay.
First question. Food or lifestyle?
Oh, lifestyle, because the food is in the lifestyle.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay. Again, she does food and lifestyle, y'all. So her brand is food and lifestyle. Well, wait. What you mean the food is in the lifestyle?
Because I choose lifestyle because your lifestyle could be that you're like a sports person and you're going to eat red meat and eggs every day. That's food involved in that lifestyle. So it depends on what kind of lifestyle you want. I just feel like lifestyle is going to trump.
It's like holistic.
Yes.
Okay. Smart. See,
and I
this
feel
is why I got
like people eat around their lifestyle too. So
this is why I got to get her the hard questions, because that wasn't even hard. I thought that was hard. She answered that real easily. Okay, fine. Next question.
Okay.
Cooking or catering? And I'm saying catering. Catering also includes going out to restaurants, honey, because she's also like a restaurateur, and she be doing reviews and stuff. So, cooking or catering?
Oh, that's a hard one because I do love to cook for small groups, very small groups. But I do love a good experience, and I do love even a private dinner, going out to a restaurant. That's really hard. But if I have to say, I'm going to give myself the least labor as possible. So I'm going to go with the catering.
Yes! We love a nice catering. Okay.
I love a life of convenience.
Yes! For those that don't know, okay, I'm all here for I was here for the catering. Catering, all right? I am, I'll be cooking. I just don't be cooking a whole bunch. And I just be cooking for myself to survive, And I feel like there's a lot of y'all that's out here just cooking to survive.
Absolutely.
And that's fine. If I'm going to go to the restaurant every time.
Period.
2 questions. 2 more questions. 2 last questions.
Okay.
Small business, hand-poured candles and hand-poured everything, or enterprise?
Small business.
Why?
The quality to me is unmatched, because when you get to an enterprise level, that's to me when you mass produce things and nobody's really checking. Everything is factory, so sync is going to be off. It's really and you don't have a lot of creativity. When you get into bigger organizations, there's a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of red tape. You got to go through approvals process. So if your customers say, we want a watermelon scented body scrub, you got to go through 4 levels of change to say, can we put this out? Versus being a smaller business, you can say, I can do that. Even if we do it in a small quantity, we can do that for you. You can do more custom things, and I feel like you have a closer connection to your clients. So yeah. I'm small business all day.
For sure.
Hand poured is way better than factory made. You'll see the difference. If you go into some of the stores, you can just see the quality, you can see and smell the difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's quality over quantity.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Last question.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. For those of you that don't know, Morgan is a fan of Beyoncé.
Oh, yes.
Beehive all the way, honey. So, this or that. Beyonce in Atlanta or Beyonce in Houston?
Oh, Bria, that is a hard question. Just to, Beyonce, I love you so much. And, this is not a fair question. But I'm going to say Atlanta just because Atlanta is the vibe. And I think Houston would be like a very heartwarming show. Family, this is where you're from. But to me, no party, I feel like Atlanta has the party scene on lock. Everybody love brunches here. Everybody like the music here. It's always a good time. People love coming to Atlanta. And I feel like, and I'm kind of mad because I'm not going to the Atlanta show. But I am going to the show. But I didn't get tickets for Atlanta. So, Atlanta all day.
Yeah, absolutely. Atlanta all day. Okay.
But if you can't do Atlanta, go to Houston.
If you can't do Atlanta, go to Houston.
Yeah.
Okay, but Atlanta first, then Houston.
Yeah.
I literally made a joke to Morgan, and I was like, oh my gosh, maybe I can see if I can get tickets to Spain. There was only the global tickets left, and I was like, yeah, I'm finna do the global. I'm finna go to Spain. And she was like, Bria, 2 Chainz is not finna come out in Barcelona.
Period. He's not.
2 Chainz is not opening up for Beyonce.
It's not going to hit the same.
Oh, wait, you're right. It's gonna be somebody
because I don't really
that's of Spanish culture. I didn't think about that.
And that's why I say with Texas, they got the chopped and screwed stuff.
That's true.
That's not my vibe. I'm trying to get turned up with 2 Chainz.
Yes.
I'm trying to
birthday.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to be tipping on fofos.
Right. Oh my gosh, I cannot. Okay, well, thank you so much. So you did not have to drink. Great job. However, producers, y'all can let me know. Crew, do you think that Morgan should take a shot just because, or not? We have some head nods.
Okay. Well, are you gonna do one with me?
Yes, I will. I think this nice little shot here. Cheers to women-owned businesses.
Yes.
Human resources and focusing more on the human.
Period.
And to Beyonce in Atlanta.
Amen. Pray that I get there.
All right.
Ooh.
Okay. She's so extra. I cannot. Ooh. Well, Morgan, thank you so much for being here and dropping all of the HR gems, honey. And the entrepreneurship gems and the small businesses. Y'all, please, here's her, here are her handles. You can follow her here. Great things coming. Great things that have already came. Please check her out. And yes, thank you so much just for always being an inspiration, dropping the knowledge and not being a gatekeeper. For real. That's one of my biggest things that I really love about you. You're here about the knowledge and for people to succeed because we in this thing.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing your platform with me and asking me to come and talk. This was so much fun, and I wish you a lot of success.
Oh my gosh. This lady. Of course. Anytime. Okay, well, that's going to be the end of our episode. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, real baddies break barriers. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Breaking Barriers with Bria. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay up to date with all of our content. And remember, real baddies break barriers.